The oldest language in the world, and it's not a word. There is a silent assumption we make about the ancient past, that it was a world defined entirely by the survival of the fittest. We imagine our ancestors as cold, pragmatic survivalists who had no room for weakness. In this version of history, if you couldn't hunt, if you couldn't run, or if you couldn't contribute to the immediate survival of the tribe, you were a liability. You were left behind. But the deeper we dig into the earth, the more we find that this brutish version of our history is actually a myth. Hidden in the fossil record is a discovery that challenges everything we think we know about human nature. It suggests that before we had wheels, before we had agriculture, and perhaps even before we had complex language, we had something much more powerful. We had the ability to look at a broken person and see ourselves. To understand this, we have to look at a skull found in the Damani sea site in Georgia, dating back 1.8 million years. This wasn't a modern human, but an early ancestor called Homo erectus. When archaeologists examined one particular skull, they noticed something startling. The individual had lost all their teeth years before they died. In the harsh environment of the Pleistocene, where food was tough and had to be chewed vigorously, a toothless individual should have died within weeks. Yet, the bone had regrown over the empty sockets, proving this person lived for years in a state of total vulnerability. How? The answer is simple and profound. Someone else chewed their food for them. Someone else protected them from predators. Someone else carried them when the tribe moved. This isn't an isolated incident. We see it again in the remains of Shanidar I, a Neanderthal who lived 45,000 years ago. He was a man who had survived a massive blow to the head that likely left him partially blind. His right arm was withered and useless from birth, and he walked with a severe limp. By the logic of survival of the fittest, he shouldn't have made it past childhood. Instead, he lived to be nearly 50 years old, an elderly man by the standards of his time. He didn't survive because he was the strongest, he survived because he was loved. This is the payoff of our evolutionary story. We often think of our greatest milestones as the invention of fire or the sharpening of the first flint blade. But the true turning point in the human journey was the moment we decided that a life had value even when it could no longer produce. Anthropologist Margaret Mead was once asked what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture. She didn't point to a clay pot or a tool. She pointed to a femur, a thigh bone, that had been broken and then healed. In the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You can't run from danger or get to the river for a drink. A healed femur is evidence that someone stayed with the fallen, bound the wound, and tended the person through recovery. Compassion is not a modern luxury or a soft trait we develop once life got easy. It is the very foundation of our species. We are not here today because we were the most aggressive hunters, but because we were the most successful caretakers. Long before we wrote books or built cathedrals, we spoke the oldest language in the world. The act of reaching out a hand to someone who couldn't give anything back. That is what made us human.